So kind of just continuing on Google a little bit. So Google My Business, how important is it that you have a Google profile?
Google business profile, yeah.
Yes, that you keep this up to date and change it on a regular basis.
So
welcome to Small Biz Connect, where we talk all things small biz. I'm Amy Reed, Director of the Galveston County Small Business Development Center. SBDCs are funded in part by the SBA, where we provide no-cost business advice as well as no to low-cost training. Today, we are joined by Wendell Jordan. Wendell is with Jordan Marketing Consultants, and we're happy to have you today.
Yes, ma'am. I'm happy to be here.
So I'm just going to get started by asking you, what inspired you to start a marketing consulting business?
Nothing inspired me, actually. It was all by mistake.
Okay.
You don't know this.
I do, but our listeners
don't. I know
don't.
you had such a surprise look on your face. So I started off my entrepreneurial journey in sales, right? So it was a door-to-door salesman back in Queens. A childhood friend of mine was selling websites, asked me if I wanted to sell websites for him. That's what got me into the digital marketing space. Terrified of it, knew nothing about websites other than how to get to them right at the time. And we kind of just took off from there. So him and I parted ways. I didn't want to do anything else, and I just continued the digital marketing space.
And I think you're a natural salesperson. I can see you like being really successful at the whole door-to-door sales, which most people I don't think would be, other than you're built like a linebacker.
Yeah, right. Well, I was going to say, well, that was always difficult. But I guess the term gift the gab is what has been glued to me for a long time. So I guess, yeah, it's true.
I would totally see that.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, we're going to start talking about SEO. What is SEO?
SEO, search engine optimization. The easiest way to describe it, I like to use kind of like user experience, right? When you are in a new town or on a different part of town here in Houston, and you're looking for the pizza shop, you're looking for the restaurant, you go to search. The businesses that come up are utilizing SEO in some degree or not, right? And that is how your search results are populated. I think we have this misconception as consumers that the best ones come up first, but it's really the ones who are invested in themselves that come up first. So search engine optimization is essentially making sure that you come up before your competitors whenever someone is looking for your business.
I think that's a great explanation. And it's easy for people to understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I think a lot of times people are like, overwhelmed when they hear search engine optimization. Right. What is this magical thing?
Exactly.
Right. But we know we have to have it.
Right. Well, I mean, again, if you keep it simple, you use it every day.
Right.
Right. Regardless of what we're searching for. I use location-based search because that's a big part of what we do. But I mean, even when we're asking Google questions, right? They're the blogs that come up, sometimes even the agencies that come up, all of those are a part of SEO, right? So we're not just utilizing it from a business standpoint. We're utilizing it from a consumer standpoint too.
Right.
So
that's great. So when you first started, you were kind of doing a lot of things in marketing for consulting, right?
Yes.
And now you primarily focus on the SEO side.
That is correct. What
led you to customize that?
So I'll shamelessly say in part our conversations, right? Not learning what I didn't enjoy. So when I got into the space again, selling websites, that's all I knew. I stuck with what I knew for a long time, made sure that I tried my best to get better at the thing that I thought I knew well. As I started getting out into the business world and networking more, especially when I moved down here to Houston, came across some agencies, specifically one agency, an agency partner of ours that was doing things the way I thought we were doing them. Right, for lack of better words, it had so much better processes. Their end result was better. It led me to have some real coming to Jesus moments, and I'm like, yeah, we're not good at this, right? Like, I mean, it pays the bills, but we're not good at it. We're not providing, good quality service or the best quality service. We're not creating the best product. But somewhere around the pandemic, I was able to get out of just websites and create a recurring revenue model. So it gave me the ability to hone in more on learning more about SEO, right? And taking all I'll call them stupid courses now because they're not, it's like any other academia, right? It doesn't keep up, right? So in doing all of that, I realized I really enjoy SEO. I don't like design. Design is trivial. Design is art, right?
Right.
What color is your shirt? What color is mine? Everybody's eye cones, the color cones in your eyes are different.
Mm-hmm.
These are all things that are subjective. Whereas when I dig into SEO, we can't really argue about where your placement is, right? I like that. That's so much easier. So once I was able to discover it and find a liking, and then also be able to accept the fact that I wasn't leaving money on the table, because that was probably the next part of the acceptance was offering everything. We made considerably less money, actually, in hindsight. Considerably less money in hindsight. So now, we solely do SEO.
But you're smarter with your time. You're smarter with your resources.
1,000%.
Yes.
I also don't have to be spread so thin. Every conversation is the same. My favorite thing now, people listen when I tell them about their website, right? Because I'm not selling them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or even, I don't talk social media much at all, but if I do, again, they hear it differently because there is no back end buy-in, for me. I'm going to send you to somebody else. If you don't go, great. If you go, great. But I'm just giving you what I know you should do, not necessarily, you need this because I also sell it, right? Like that's how people hear it, even if it is a good suggestion.
So kind of talking about your people, your customers and that sort of thing. Do you work with specific industries or specific types of customers? I
heard this term a few years ago and I loved it. We're industry agnostic, right? Okay. So like we don't have a specific industry that we thrive in. A lot of what you see online from us right now is geared towards real estate. And what I would argue is real estate adjacent, right? So roofers, electricians, remodelers, stuff like that. But I mean, our book of business is pretty vast. We've got mental health professionals. We've had RV parks, insurance, restaurants, anything that you could pretty much think of, right? We also have a couple of oil and gas clients right now. So anybody that needs SEO, it kind of falls into the space. As I mentioned earlier, my favorite thing is local SEO. I think being a transplant 2 times over kind of created that space for me. Again, that same analogy or that same example of trying to find XYZ in this specific city. Right. When I lived in St. Louis before I came here. My first time getting a haircut in St. Louis, it took me like 2 hours to find a barber. Right. And that wasn't that long ago.
Wow.
Right? Yeah, but local SEO wasn't really a thing. Like
pre-Google.
No, actually.
Wow.
But so the evolution of SEO is interesting because from a consumer's perspective, right, and also being a nerd, the internet didn't have to be as smart as it is now, right? The saturation of information wasn't as deep, and there weren't as many people trying to push information onto the internet.
True.
So when I was looking for a barbershop in St. Louis and in the suburbs of St. Louis, nonetheless, there really weren't a whole lot of people on the internet at that time, right? From a beauty salon perspective. Right. Whereas now that was right at the cusp of every barber specifically doing the online booking. Right. Because once upon a time you just walk in and you get cut when you get cut.
I love that saying, like, if Google doesn't know that you exist, do you even exist?
Exactly. Right. So this wasn't even a Google search, as a matter of fact. I was actually in Yelp.
Oh, wow.
So because there really weren't a lot of results. Because if you didn't have a website, your Google business profile, which is what it was called, because it's Google Business Profile now. So it was Google My Business back then. Right. Yeah, I think it was still Google My Business back then. If you didn't have either one of those, you just didn't come up. Right. So they weren't even giving you a Yellow Pages index. Right. So but I understood the internet enough to where I go on Yelp. It took me 2 hours to find a barber. So again, I think that has fed the local SEO side of the business, right? So whenever I'm talking to local business, I can have the conversation with you about being in Webster versus being in League City, being in Kemah. And sometimes you're right there on the corner and you're at an intersecting point where you're almost touching all 3 cities. Most agencies that I've come across don't know how to have that conversation, right? Because they're not really keyed into the finer details and what local SEO looks like. So it's a long answer to your short question, but a lot of what we do is local SEO, right? So all the industries that I named, there's usually some root in local, right? They do want to improve their local footprint. They want to be able to come up faster. They want to come up easier, for a variety of keywords.
That makes sense. So talking about coming up faster, that sort of thing, what are some best practices for people who are maybe DIYing SEO to rank higher?
So, you know me, right? So I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to make a joke and say, hire me. That's the fastest way to do it yourself. So have a Google business profile, right? Do all the free stuff. Believe it or not, Bing is still a thing, right? Mm-hmm. If you're old enough to remember when Bing first started rolling out, right? People actually do use it. Mm-hmm. You can run ads on Bing. So Bing has its own Google or business profile, if you will. Apple has one now. Make sure that you're on all the free listings, right? Those are some of the best DIY things that you can do. Look at your website. Have people who aren't your friends or maybe are your honest friends tell you what they think your website is describing.
I think that's a great tip. I tell people that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I experienced that one firsthand with a side project. I gave it to someone and I was like, what do you think we do? I'm not really sure. So, okay, we got to go back to the drawing board. Yeah.
Right.
Also, look at Google Trends is something I hear other agencies talk about. We don't use it per se because we have SEO tools. But again, from a DIY perspective, Google Trends, tap into that resource. Also look at some of the topics that trend on social media, right? Social media is actually a stronger or more popular search engine than traditional Google, depending on the age group that you target. Mm-hmm. So pay attention to those things, incorporate some of those terms and keywords that you're seeing in your social media feeds onto your website.
Those are great tips.
Well, and then I'm trying to think of the right way to say this last one. Don't be so ignorant to think that you have no competition, right? No matter what it is that you do.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, so pay attention to the environment. Mm-hmm. Because I think that's also a big hindrance for all small business owners, including myself, is not paying attention to the competition, to the landscape.
I think that happens all the time. People say no one else is doing what I'm doing.
It's a lie.
Well, and maybe not at this moment, maybe not 2 miles from you.
Yeah, I say on this side of town, maybe not. Yeah,
that sort of thing. But there's nothing out there that hasn't really been done. There's nothing that is totally original anymore.
Absolutely.
Everything's just maybe cultivated for what you're trying to do or manipulated.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, even for us, I'm pretty confident. I wouldn't say that we're the only ones in Houston that do it. I think we're the only ones on this side of town, right? That look at local SEO the way that we do. I haven't encountered a whole lot of agencies, but I would be foolish to think that I've reinvented the wheel, right? Like, no, I just haven't met the person yet.
Right.
That's probably more likely.
I think what's most important is it works for you.
Yeah.
It works for your business model. It works for you personally. Mm-hmm. You feel strongly about it. And when that happens, business generally grows.
Yeah, no, of course.
So
yeah,
I think that's what's important. So you touched a little bit on Google. Can you also talk a little bit about Google's, I think they call it EEAT, experience? Go ahead.
Okay.
You got it?
So I'll be honest, I don't remember the acronym. If you were going to throw that out there, by all means do it.
It's experience, expertise, authority, and trust.
Okay, so let's go with authority first, right? So authority is stupid, right? That's the word I'm going to go with.
Okay.
Yeah, because authority is misleading. If depending on, the age group, we grew up in an internet where whenever you did a search or had any kind of SEO audit, you had domain authority, right?
Right.
It's not a real thing, right? Google says it's not a real thing. Authority is really more on authorship, right? So like making sure that there is a lot of information that can be referenced back to you,
right?
Not necessarily domain authority. So the short part of that, that's why I say it's stupid, because they don't explain that part well.
They don't tell you how that algorithm really works.
Yeah. So like, I still get emails now for people selling backlinks, right? Because that was how you used to increase your domain authority, is through backlinking. It's not that backlinking is bad, but the authority in it is completely different, right? Because the first two pieces of EAT now are far more important than the spammy way that we used to be able to manipulate Google's algorithm.
I remember back in the day, a long time ago, you would put text on your website so it's the same color as your background.
Yeah, I knew that's where you were going.
And I mean, don't do that now. You'll be blacklisted. No.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I don't even think you'll be blacklisted. You'll just, at some point, someone will highlight too much of your website and they will find all of these words at the bottom.
Ruined your authenticity.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think, I've actually, in recent years, I've seen that still.
Ooh,
yeah,
wow.
Believe it or not.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other thing too, I'm going to stick to this thought to the question,
yes,
but add this piece to it. The hardest part in digital marketing as a whole, I would say specifically SEO, but digital marketing as a whole is we have there's no gateway, right? There's no barrier of entry.
Okay.
Right. So if you did SEO, I don't know, can you see my hands? SEO. If you did SEO 20 years ago, you could say that you've been doing SEO for 20 years. 20 years ago, you weren't doing SEO. You were spamming the internet. I was doing SEO 20 years ago, right? Like I was in a different industry, but I accidentally learned that if you put enough information on the internet, you come up first in search. Had no idea what search engine optimization was. That was 20 years ago, right. Almost exactly 20 years ago. But I wasn't in SEO, right? The difficulty is, like now you'll see websites that are at the bottom. They'll have restaurants in Kemah, restaurants in Seabrook, and maybe it's a link, maybe it isn't. Or they'll have areas we service, and it's 25 areas at the bottom of it, because they're essentially doing what you're describing, right, but in a new way.
Right.
It still does nothing,
mm-hmm,
right? But they've paid someone, or maybe DIY'd it, but they probably paid someone who is doing this because they've been in SEO for 20 years. I have no idea.
That's what they've always done.
Exactly. And it's always gotten a result. The two key pieces to eat are, keying in on how your user, right, your end reader, person who you want to book the table or your service or whatever it is, thinking about what they are trying to achieve, walking them almost in a storyboard fashion through text,
mm-hmm,
to the click to call, right, or to the call to action button. That's essentially what EAT is about, right? We make it entirely too difficult, right? That's all it is. It's really just having thoughtful content, and when you create that content, don't think about it from an SEO perspective. You should be thinking about it from the customer that you want to talk to, and then sprinkle some SEO seasoning on top.
No, I think that's sprinkle some SEO seasoning on top. SEO
seasoning on top. I got
a little bit of trust and that sort of thing.
Right, exactly.
So,
yeah, because
But when people see, like they go to your website, mm-hmm, and they see that you immediately address their pain point, that already helps to build your expertise, your trust, your experience, everything, right?
Your authority.
So,
right, exactly.
Right, your authority. Yeah. So it's your content. Mm-hmm. It is what you put out there, and it is how you structure your website.
Exactly.
So
right.
So kind of just continuing on Google a little, mm-hmm, bit. So Google My Business, how important is it that you have a Google profile?
Google Business Profile, yeah.
Yes, that you keep this up to date and change it on a regular basis.
So I'm going to say this twofold. It is super important to have one. I have no data points that say keeping it up to date changes anything in the algorithm, right? I do a lot of experimenting with our own Google Business Profile. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I've posted a lot of different types of posts. I haven't seen much. We use SEMrush. SEMrush says that Google has, I like to say it this way, Google has fallen back in love with itself, because for a while, your Google My Business Profile was super important. If you didn't, mm-hmm, have one, you were dead in the water. Mm-hmm. You would be on page 20. And then having one was important, but then they started putting too much weight on the reviews, right? Then they kind of did away with how important it was again. And now, according to bigger resources, they say that it is super important to keep it up to date. There's an update function inside of your Google Business, mm-hmm, Profile. You can run promotions to your Google Business Profile. I think you can still set events. I would say the most important pieces, though, are making sure that you have a description for your business. There are so many people who have Google Business Profiles that have not filled out all the pieces and parts, right? If you have a storefront, put it on there. Google's verification process kind of forces you to now,
right.
depending on how they're feeling that day.
Mm-hmm.
But if you didn't have to do it, right? Put your storefront up there. If you've got a team, if you've got a staff, put them on there, right? You can even kind of put those two pieces together and make it an update, right? Where you're talking about your staff or whatever it is. That Google business profile, in my opinion, I'll say it twofold. Google calls it they call it free advertising, right? That's Google's phrase for it, right? It's almost a Google Ads account for free because you can post whatever you want in there.
Right.
But the secondary part of it is the first landing page most people will see if it is a direct search more often than not, and or if you're coming up in top 3 before you go clicking into the map, it'll show up, right? So again, it almost acts as your landing page. So if I go there, I'll use this example. I always have real world examples. There was a store that I frequent that is like 15, 20 minutes from my house, but is locally owned. And I pass a bunch of franchises to get to this store. I get to the store one day and they're closed, but they didn't update their Google business profile. That's all you got to do is just go in there, put closed today, or you could have made an announcement. We'll be closed tomorrow for this, that, or the other. I've never been back because I had to drive 20 minutes to find out you were closed.
Right.
And I actually sat there and opened up their Google business profile while I was sitting in front of the place because I'm like, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. No, it says that you're open your regular business hours. It takes 2 minutes to go, change your business hours for today. You're closed. I probably wouldn't have checked. No, I think I did check. But either way, there was no way for me to know because you didn't update the simple things in your Google business profile.
That's a great tip. Something, just take the 2 minutes and go in and update that you're closed. I mean, if there's a weather happening or something like that, holiday, you're close to the holiday.
Whatever it is, you can change your business hours and it doesn't change them eternally. It'll just be for today. Right. So those are the things I would argue are more important, not necessarily from a, bare bones algorithm perspective, but I guess it kind of goes back to that same thought, right? Like if you are providing quality information to your ideal customer will appreciate it, right? It's just that simple.
Communication is so important.
Right, exactly. So
what about the reviews though? So is it important that if someone leaves your review, good or bad, that you comment and reply to that? Okay.
Always.
Is there like a time frame too?
I haven't seen any of my own data that says time matters.
Okay.
We will backlog review responses, right, for clients. So it hasn't really made or broken anything. But I would argue from the user perspective, if they're looking for the exit, they'll always find it, right? So if you have reviews that you didn't respond to 2 years ago, and that's the reason why a customer A or potential customer A didn't solicit your business, they were looking for a reason out. But now that you know better, you should be responding. I would say no more than 2 days.
Right.
Try to be thoughtful. Most importantly, and I say this jokingly but serious, don't go back and forth, right? If it's a bad review, use AI, right? Use ChatGPT or something to give a thoughtful response, and then let it be. They may respond back, or they may write a new review, or whatever it is. Don't get caught up in that. Right. That's really important. To go back to one of the other important things when it comes to your Google business profile, if you have products, if you have services, put them, right? There's still a form fill for you to be able to put your pricing in. Don't try to cheat the system. If you are offering services, don't put them as products, right? Very rarely do you see people with products put them as services, but people with services tend to put them as products. Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why.
I've not
Google
seen
doesn't like it.
Yeah.
And I see it a lot, right? But I look at more Google business profiles. So Google doesn't like it. And the nuance in your Google business profile is there are a lot of things that can get it suspended.
Okay.
There is no rhyme or reason. You'll make an update and then you'll get a notification that your account is suspended. I would say 80%, 90% of the time you can get your account reinstated. But then there's also that 10 to 20% of the time where you've now lost your Google business profile. Wow. And there's no 800 number. Right. You're not going to be able to finesse your way out of this, right? Like you're now in Google purgatory.
Oh, goodness.
Until further notice, right? So, and again, it's a very fickle system. So follow the rules. They have an entire page of guidelines.
So just follow the rules and you should be okay.
Yeah. Follow the rules. And then again, so now to go back to the review piece, reviews are super important. I think Google finds them more important now because we're in a place where we all want a platform to vent, right? So the place that has 100 reviews, well, let me say it's two ways. Having more reviews than your competitor is not an indicator that you should be ranked higher, right? I have that conversation from time to time too. There is no one data point that's going to make you better. But if you have an opportunity to curate more reviews, you should, right? I think it, again, goes back to user experience. We all trust a place that has 100 reviews, 1,000 reviews over the place that has 6. Even if you have 50 reviews and your last review is 6 months ago, 2 years ago, go get some more reviews.
Right.
For us, it's hard because we have really good retention. So I don't bring on a whole lot of new clients every single month, and I don't do a lot of one-off work. So us, I think in the years that I think I got like 20 reviews, but it's really difficult because of the type of business that we do.
Right.
Whereas one of our recent clients in business since the 80s, they've got like 50 reviews. And they have to have new clients every month. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been in business so long. But they're just not doing a good job of, testimonials and asking people to go on their Google business profile or anywhere really and write reviews.
So they just need to be more strategic about getting those reviews.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are 3 simple things that small business owners could do today, put into action to help their SEO?
Okay. So number 1, go back to that Google business profile. If you don't have one, get one. I'll say be prepared to go through the verification process. Don't be frustrated because Google is Google. If you already have one, optimize it. That would be the first one. The second one, again, give that website to someone and ask them, how do they understand your services page? How easy is it for them to navigate your to-go orders or whatever it is, right? Whatever those things are on your website that you think are amazing, have someone go through them that are going to be honest with you. That you can get those pain points out because your user experience is important.
Right.
And then the third one that someone can do today. This is tough. Get more reviews, right? Because even if it goes back to the Google business profile, but reviews anywhere are important, right? So if you've already got your 1,016 million reviews on Google, if you're posting a lot on Facebook, do you have any social proof there? Depending on your industry, are you on Angie's List? Are you on this place or that place, right?
Right.
Get some reviews there too, right? Take time to create the brand recognition that you want people to know you for, right? Because word of mouth is awesome. The thing I've learned to say now is, it's infinite word of mouth though, right? If you write a review, it's there forever.
Right.
Right. You can only tell about so many people. You can only tell who you know. But if you put it on the internet, it's there. Right. So the people who love to give you referrals, tell them to go online and make an infinite referral.
Yeah. And the people that are probably willing to take the time to do that.
Exactly. So, but ask everyone.
So when we're talking about people DIYing and that sort of thing, small businesses maybe with small budgets, are there any SEO tools that are maybe free or low cost that our small business owners could look at?
So Google Trends, I guess theoretically is a tool. Free to low cost. The basic version of SEMrush, I think, is about $100 a month. That one. They used to have a free version, but I'm not. They kind of been flowing in the free space. There's a tool that'll give you a real boilerplate audit called SEOQ. It's actually an extension that you can put inside your browser. I use Chrome, so I know it works in Chrome. But it'll allow for you to be able to do a real boilerplate audit of your website. Your Google Search Console, if you don't have your analytics and stuff set up, those are free tools.
Would you say that's a must to have your Google Analytics set up?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not just analytics, but Search Console.
Right. They don't have that connected to their website. They're missing out.
Go Google those things and get those things set up on your website. Again, those are not just essential, but they're tools. Right. So as much as not having Google Search Console, you still index and everything else. Google Search Console does an amazing job of telling you your impressions, what keywords people are clicking on your site for, things of that nature that you don't have to pay anybody for.
And you have no idea if you didn't have it. Right.
Unfortunately, I don't have a whole bunch of them because I live in an agency world now. Right. If you'd asked this a few years ago, I probably could have given you some.
Those are some good options.
Yeah, I feel bad because I used to have a ton of free stuff, but we don't play like that no more.
You still gave some good ones. I think the Search Console is one of the
Google
the
Search
biggest.
Console is a very underutilized tool. It's an important data point. Google Analytics can be cumbersome, right? Because of the way that privacy works now and the way that they got to change.
And you have to know how to read that report.
That's what I'm saying, right? Yeah, right. Because once upon a time it was very simple, but because of the way privacy changed, they kind of had to change the way that they were giving you the information.
One of the great things, though, is you can actually take your analytics report and put it into AI, and AI can help put it in common terms.
Is that right?
I had a client just do that recently, and I thought that was super smart.
I'm gonna have to
Great way to use AI.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you touched on keywords, too.
Yeah.
So can you say a little bit more about maybe how people should think about when they're coming up with their keywords for their website?
Sure.
What should they be thinking?
So keywords for your website. So again, the trends that you find on social media, on Google Trends, it's the difference between, we had a client once that when I asked them for terms, because we do our own keyword research, but I'm not the subject matter expert in every industry that we work in. So I always ask the client to provide that part, right? We're going to SEO seasoning on it. I need to know, they couldn't get out of their very professional space, right? So the difference between, like, as a consumer, I'm not going to look up, I'm not going to use technical terms, right? If I have a leak on my faucet, I'm not going to say, is it the P trap, right? Like I may not even know what that is, right?
Why does my sink leak?
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's going to be my question.
Right.
So, thinking about how people ask you your questions in the field, right? Those, you don't hear the term anymore, but they used to be called long tail keywords, but keywords are just keywords these days. But it's thinking about how the conversations are happening is how you should be converting those into keywords, right? So along the same lines, it's almost like an FAQ, right? So if people are asking you questions all the time about why their sink leaks or do they have a leak in their roof? Is that a water spot? Is that a water stain in my ceiling? Those things like that are the things that people are actually searching for.
Right.
I don't have any technical jargon to run off right now, but sometimes, like the RV client that we had, sometimes you do have to use a technical term, right? So like a pull-through lot is an RV term. No idea. Right? But if you
use that, you know that.
Right. Yeah. But if you have an RV, you need a pull-through lot, right? For your big rig, right? So like these are different terms that you need to be paying attention to as your business owner when you're looking at the keywords, right? So if you don't have pull-through lot as an RV owner, right, RV park owner, you might want to throw some of those in there because that's what people are looking for, right? Just trying to incorporate, trying not to be too technical, and just think about what your customers are asking you, when you get on the job or when they're walking into your restaurant, right?
I think that's one of the things that I've seen change so much over these past few years is your website used to talk about, I'm the best, I'm the expert, use me, right? This is me over competition, all those things. And now everything on your website is about your customer. Yes. Put yourself in their shoes. Exactly. What do they want to see when they go to your website? Not what makes you look good, but what is their pain point? What solution do you provide? Right. And those keywords come into it the same way. Like, how does my customer think when they're sitting down at the keyboard looking for this? Right. What are they? Right. When they're searching for solutions. Exactly. Yeah. So how long, and I think this is one of the things that people don't always understand.
Forever. No.
Yeah, forever. So you have this strategy,
Yeah.
marketing strategies, SEO strategies,
Sure.
and they should happen immediately.
Right.
I should start my strategy and I have instant results tomorrow, right?
Like boiling water. Yeah.
Realistically,
Okay.
when you put an SEO strategy in place, how long does it take before you see results?
So again, I'd be remiss. It depends, right? Is the usual marketing answer.
But is it a week? Is it a day?
No. So I'll give two extreme instances. Let's say you've never done anything, right? You've had this website for a few years and it's just live. You may even think it doesn't work well, right? Because you've never touched it. We'll go in there and we'll start touching stuff. We'll update different pieces and parts of your website, and you may instantaneously see more traffic. What I would warn is it'll level out, right? So like it's not going to stay that way. But you can have almost the sizzle in that immediate moment. You take an existing website and you start touching, and start optimizing things on a website. Right. However, there's also the website that's already existed, that's done some stuff off and on maybe. I usually tell clients 90 days, right? Give it 90 days.
It's a good rule of thumb, right?
Yeah, 90 days is solid when it comes to SEO. What I would argue is don't fall in love with any numbers that are week over week or even every 2 weeks, right? So like I explained it to my clients specifically. I am not looking at your report every week. We look at it on a 30-day roll, because every 30 days I can look at the ebb and flow of, there is a such thing as search volatility, right? So some industries have moments where you get a little crazy in search.
Right.
When you're looking at keyword, I get reports sometimes and it is so scary because it'll go from, I kid you not, I've had keywords go from like a 5 position point to like 54 in a day, maybe even 2 or 3 days. But because I've been doing this long enough now, I don't panic and, start crying in the corner. I just wait a minute and then it'll bounce right back to where it was, or it may go higher.
Right.
Right. Very rarely do you see it bounce back and decrease, but that's search volatility. SEMrush used to have a little section for search volatility. I don't know if they still have it anymore, but it still exists, right? Whether they talk about it or not, because I watch it in the reporting. So 90 days for us is really is a benchmark, right? Like, quarterly, you should see something, right? I would also argue when you talk about success, marketing, SEO, like all marketing, is a results may vary situation, right? I think sometimes when we look at SEO, we think of it, first off, we think of paid search, right? Which we didn't really, we didn't differentiate. What we do is organic, right? What we do is organic, right? So we're not, paid search, you should see just about instant results. But if it's organic search, take time.
Right.
Internet has to almost acquiesce to the information you're providing to it, right? It has to adjust. It's got to digest it. It also needs to validate that what you're sharing is real. Right. So that's why you'll have that big peak, and then it will trim back down, and then you'll find some sort of normalcy, because the internet is almost intrigued at what you shared. It provides traffic for validation, right? And then you'll start to see exactly how the internet is responding. Now, in that same breath, depending on the industry, depending on the keywords, and depending on the location, are some things that we can do in 30 days on an existing campaign, right? Something that we've already been working through. Right. We could see drastic change by making certain changes. Again, RV client, we changed the URL, and we changed the URL and did one other thing. And we broke the set of keywords for that specific page. We broke them all into the top 10, right? And it was a struggle up until that point.
So basically, just don't think it's going to happen immediately.
And be patient
and be patient. Yeah. And after the end of that 90 days, maybe tweak it, change it, because it doesn't always work.
No,
right. The first time, sometimes you have to try a different strategy.
Always,
right?
I would say not sometimes. Always. You will always have to change something. I guess that's the other thing too, when it comes to an SEO campaign, whether it be DIY or other, don't fall in love with just the good, right? You also have to look at the keywords that are falling into the abyss.
Right.
As you change content, as you change different pieces and parts of the website, There will be some keywords that you ranked for accidentally that won't exist on your site anymore. Now you got to figure out how to get them back.
Right.
Right. Because the internet was just guessing for you, and now you're starting to do some optimization. So I would argue that there's always something that needs changing.
So we're going to make a small turn.
Okay.
Step away from SEO. You've been a client at the SBDC for quite a while now.
Sometime, yes.
So what has that experience been like as you started as a startup and now you're a growth client?
Okay. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
You're no longer a startup.
I'm not. Okay. All right. I'm gonna tell my kids. What is that? Ask the question again.
What has it been like working with the SBDC?
It's been awesome. You have given me a wealth of information, right? You're also very realistic. You and I laugh about this all the time. When I first walked in here, I thought I was way further along than I was. And you're like, I don't know. Yeah. We'll see if I see you again, right? You know, it was a scary time. That said, I would argue the SBDC, I sing your praises across the country, right? Every agency, you know, every office isn't the same, but I always tell them, like, if you're lucky, right, you'll have an Amy. You know what I mean? So yeah, but that's genuine. Like I tell people, my clients on the East Coast, especially when they start getting into the weeds of some of their business, I'm like, I don't know anything about that. That's not my job, right? Go talk to somebody at the SBDC. That's literally my phrase. So it has been monumental in what we've been able to accomplish. I mean, genuinely, everything from even that 90 days, right? Like, you know, we've talked about that with different softwares and stuff, different things that I'm trying, right? See how you like it after 90 days. But yeah, I mean, it has been pivotal in our growth from, what'd you say, from startup to growth. Yes. I don't know that some of the pieces we were able to put in place, I don't know that I would have been able to figure it out in the time frame that I figured it out if I wasn't coming to the SBDC.
So as far as your SEO that we talked about today, you're going to be doing a workshop that we're partnering with the city of Lamar. So that's coming up, and that class is listed on our website. So if they want to hear more about SEO, they can come that night and hear about that. So my final question to you is, for other people who are looking to start a business, any kind of business, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
Can I give it two?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the first one I gave to a gentleman who I figured out he's a real good salesman and he's got entrepreneurial aspirations. And my statement to him when I found out about his entrepreneurial aspirations were, don't commit too early, right? I committed way too early. It definitely dedicate the time it takes to take your side hustle and grow it into a business. But if you're just starting out, find you a way to make money so that you can use that money to fund the dream, as opposed to going all in on the dream and struggling when you don't have to, right? That's the one thing that I wouldn't do different per se, but I definitely look back on it as like, yeah, it was crazy. It was a wild time. And then the other thing is don't be afraid of success and growth, right? And trust yourself enough to know that you will never find another you, but you can hire. Right? That would probably be the second piece. For myself, just thinking about this yesterday, as you said, right? Like I got to get the gab. I could talk for another 3 hours, but I'm not going to find somebody else like that. But it doesn't mean I can't hire. Right. You just have to find like those other parts of the SEO piece. Maybe I stay client facing. Know that growth is a part of this process. It is literally impossible to grow past a certain point if you're just going to be a one-person show. So you have to be willing to delegate and say, all right, cool, this person's going to do that, this person's going to do this, and I can still do the thing that I really enjoy. But those would be the two biggest pieces, is don't commit to the dream too early, and don't be afraid to grow, and trust yourself in bringing on people who can help with the process of growth. Great advice. Yes, ma'am. So, Wendell, thank you for being here today. Yes, my pleasure. So to our listeners, thanks for tuning in to Small Business Connect, where big ideas meet small biz. Be sure to follow us on all of our platforms, and we will be sure to include all of Wendell's contact information in the post so that you know how to reach out to him. Thank you, and until next time.